All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Car Talk Podcast 30. Today we are here with some other YouTubers. We have Sean Novotaz. He has a Nova, Trans Am, and a Dodge Ram. And then we have Paul from Family Cruisin' with his Hellcat and his Focus.
What's up?
Nova, Trans Am, and a Dodge Ram. No. And then we somebody's echoing. Paul with his Hellcat and his Focus. Nova, Trans Am, and a Dodge Ram.
Who's echoing?
Alistair.
It's
Alistair. You're echoing.
What's echoing?
Like you're having a video playing.
No, I don't.
It's coming from you. Oh well, continue.
I don't hear anything.
Okay, it's not anymore. You're probably you had it going anyway. But there's Alistair. Okay. He owns a Golf R. And we have Martini with the GT.
You're gonna get my bet yelled at again.
Then we have Martin, who has a GTO, and then he also does content on his girlfriend's Stingray, and also a
Infinity
Trans Am, and then and then we have actual Kenny, who still needs to get his channel going.
Corey from Driveway
the freaking the jizz in the comments saying, "Damn, JA, podcast going south." Shut up, Jacob. It's not going south yet. Also, if any of you guys are in the market for any backpacks, definitely check out pukupals.com. The link will be in the description. Definitely check that out as well.
Are they free?
I'll talk about that later.
No. They're like $40 a piece.
All Cars United is like, who's the 6-year-old?
He's 12.
I'm 11 3/4. All right.
Okay. Let's go into the first topic. So recently, the new GT500 has been teased officially from Ford. Surprisingly, I mean, it was officially from Ford, right? I believe it was, if I remember correctly.
No,
Didn't they post
Chevy teased it. Chevy was the one that...
Yeah, they're teasing Ford product.
So this is the new GT500.
That's kind of badass looking.
That looks like a GT350.
That's a GT350.
That's a shame.
Paul.
Is it really?
That's a GT350.
I know, it's a shame that such a good-looking car is going to end up hitting people on crowds.
Paul, that's not even the 2018.
That's a GT350. Really? That's a GT350, Paul.
That's a 2017.
Okay, let me go back to Google.
Thank you, Google, for failing us once again.
Well, according to his Google search, it says Shelby GT 500. It doesn't say the but it's what a shame.
Well, I mean, it was like a video that was leaked, so you might want to just look up the video and play that real quick. But while Paul is figuring that out, let's give our opinions on the video.
Sick.
That much of the... It didn't really show that much of the car. It gave a good idea, but... I mean, obviously we know it's going to be a supercharged, 5.2, right?
I mean, Ford's actually sticking with a V8 instead of going with a V6.
All right,
I'm sorry, but a muscle car shouldn't have a V6, even though if it's turbo.
I agree.
Even if it's turboed or I don't consider that a supercar with that V6 EcoBoost.
Hey, you know what's funny? We're talking to a GTO right now.
All right, guys, everybody quiet. I got the video up.
The audio is not going to come through.
Have to do some strategic pausing.
So what is this video of? The video of the...
It was the teaser of the GT500.
Jay,
the audio is not coming through.
You need to make Paul's screen.
Hold on. Everybody got to be quiet, and then I'll get it going. All right.
When you find what you're looking for,
So the question now is, who's going to be the first one to hit a crowd?
Wow.
But yeah, what does everybody think of the GT500 just from that teaser?
It's a good looking
I think it's
car.
gonna be sweet.
It's still not as good as a Hellcat.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. What do you guys actually think the horsepower is going to be? Because it said 700 plus. It didn't give an exact number.
I'm wondering if they're going to make a demon competitor and fire back at the demon because, Paul, was it you who was saying that we've had the Hellcat out for, what, 4 years now? And Ford hasn't done anything to fire back at, Dodge and say, look, we can do something better?
No, they're not just competing against the freaking Dodge anymore because they got the Chevys are now making almost the same amount of horsepower.
650. So,
it's still comparable.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Well, I mean, no, the ZR1 has 750, right?
That's a Corvette. Hold on, let's start comparing. You got to compare track cars. Yeah, well,
got a new Camaro Spy testing too. That could be the new Z28.
Yeah, so
that's another track car. Unfortunately, it's not going to be a street line performer like before.
Unless we're all wrong and it's not going to be a Z28 and they're going to come out with some new model to whoop Dodge's ass.
Yeah, so I did some power to weight ratios, right? And for the Mustang to compete with the Hellcat, it has to have right around 650 horsepower. Because power to weight ratio, the ZL1 and the Hellcat are pretty evenly matched. Although no stock the
ZL1.
The ZL1. They need to come up with a catchy name, damn it. And anyway, those cars still have not been able to run as good as Hellcats have on drag strip, right? The stock Hellcat best time is 10.59. And I think the best stock ZL1 is still right around 11. So I think 700 plus horsepower in a Mustang would spank a stock Hellcat. Because it has better suspension. It's lighter and it's smaller.
Is it going to come close to the Demon, though?
Yeah, but the Demon is a straight line performer. It's not meant to be on a track, on a circuit.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not meant for that. It's kind of like trying to compare, like the old Z28, right? Well, comparatively old, right? But it's not, to the new SS, which outtracks the old Z28 on a track, the 1LE, the one that Riley used to have before he got the Hellcat. So this new car that they're developing, is going to be a completely different animal, and I'm not even so sure that it's going to be, the new replacement for the new Camaro, the new body style. I think it will be another Z28, but the question is what engine is going to be in that puppy? Because it needs to be
a very good question.
Because it needs to be a naturally
Z28 had what, an LS7, right?
It had
so Sinister Shelby. Sinister Shelby in the comments section mentioned that the 1314 Shelbys were pretty close to the Hellcat. And that's true if you compare a 6-speed manual Hellcat to a Shelby of that generation. But no Shelby has been able to match Hellcat. I have literally raced a 900 horsepower Shelby 6-speed when my Hellcat was stock and beat him because it's slow. The 6-speed is not really meant to drag race.
No.
But if they come out with a 10-speed 720 horsepower GT500, the Hellcat will need a lot more than just 700 horsepower. And I'm pretty sure in Detroit, Dodge is going to announce an 808 horsepower Hellcat. You heard that here first. That is my prediction. 808 horsepower Hellcat in New York.
Well, they already have the Demon is 840, right? With the track computer.
That's with race gas.
Right.
That's
race gas,
but
race gas and track computer, right?
Right. On pump gas, it is 808 horsepower. And Driveway Demons is going to be joining in here pretty quick.
Alrighty.
So, if Chevy's smart, they would stick the ZR1 engine in the new Camaro.
Oh, you're bad. Yeah, that makes all the sense in the world.
Yeah, I mean, they did that with the Z01 and the Z06, so why not?
If they're trying to compete with the Demon and this 700 horsepower Mustang, then their best bet is to stick the ZR1 engine in the Camaro. Have 700 some horsepower in a two-door pony car.
There's one thing about having that done, okay? If that happens, it will not be a Z28. It can't be, because it has to be an NA, engine that's going to be in a Z28, because that's the rules when it comes to that particular type of vehicle. In fact, that's why they only came in a manual.
You say that, but the Z06 was naturally aspirated until Chevy decided it wasn't.
Well, that's
true.
Part of the,
that is very
true. Who makes the rules?
Isn't that part of the Trans Am series?
I don't know. Hey, what's up, Corey?
What's up, buddy?
Hey, Corey.
What's going on?
All right, before we continue, let's introduce this guy, which I'll be honest, I don't know much about. So you're going to introduce yourself for this one, because I don't really know.
Driveway Demons.
Driveway Demons.
Okay, what vehicle do you have?
Multiple. Type R Integra, Hellcat, SRT Durango, and very, very soon a Viper or Corvette.
Oh, nice.
Oh, damn.
All right, now, where were we?
Basically, a lot of horsepower.
Okay. Yeah, so we were talking about the GT500 and how it has to have, 700 plus horsepower, and how the Camaro, the Z06 was naturally aspirated until it wasn't. And you guys were talking about the Z28 must be naturally aspirated. And while you do that, I'm going to look up the Trans Am series rules.
And I believe that's what they keep it as, which is funny because the Trans Am never really won that type of racing series. Unfortunately, it never dominated.
No, but it dominated on the street at least all the way up until 79.
Right. What do you guys think about the Camaro ever going away like they did before in 2002? You guys ever think that they might do something weird like that again?
Yeah,
I mean, with the way the electric car stuff is going, they're either going to eventually transform the Camaro into an electric car, or they're just going to get rid of it. That's my guess.
That sounds
It does sound terrible, but I mean, look at where shit's going. It's like, I don't want it to happen.
I mean, it's a slim possibility. The only way that could ever happen is if sales slump and just hit the rock bottom, But as long as they can,
or the government does something to make electric vehicles more of a, we're doing this and we're doing away with gas-powered motors.
I don't think that'll happen with Donald Trump in office. He likes his fossil fuels.
For office forever.
Political shit in this podcast.
No, I'm just saying. I know.
Yeah, but he is right. I mean,
yeah, I know he's right, but I don't want no political feud going on in my comment section.
It's not even political views or anything like that. It's just America loves its fossil fuels. It's not going to go away we got at least another 50, 60 years before we have to worry about that.
I mean, whether you're a fan of Donald Trump or not, it doesn't matter. The fact is that he's not going to increase CAFE standards.
In fact, the pollution standards for automobiles has gone down here in the United States because, everyone else in the world has such low standards that why should we have to worry about ours when our vehicles that we already have here, outperform every other country in the entire world when it comes to
Works for me.
pollutants.
It means my classic cars will be around a lot longer.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so do we have any more technically we haven't really gotten Driveway Demons' thoughts on the new was teased.
I had a GT500, and I loved my 07. And the thing is, with the GT500s, they're going to stay true to a root supercharger. They're not going to do centrifugal guaranteed, and they're not going to, do turbo or EcoBoost. It's going to definitely stay supercharged. I haven't seen the specs on it yet, or any of the heavy duty leak specs. All I've seen is the Bullitt and the GT500 overview. I think that it's most likely going to be around 690 or 700, maybe even 735 horsepower, but it's going to be right in the range of the Hellcat. And the thing is that the GT500 is going to be on the GT350 platform with a better engine and stronger suspension setup. So it's going to handle good. And I've had 3 or 4 Mustangs in the past, and I've always loved them. But as much as I love the GT500, in my opinion, it will never be as good as a Camaro SS or ZL1 or Hellcat or a Scat Pack for a lot of ways. One of most is its bad reputation of sliding into people. Everybody who drives them, the ass ends are extremely light. Now, this is coming from a guy who's a diehard Mustang fan, but I've driven Mustangs in the snow. I've driven them in the rain. I've driven them in Florida, all over the country, just like my Hellcat, and they just don't handle as good. Mustang has got an issue with all-weather driving. They can't, their ass end won't plant. No matter what you do in the snow, that's what gives them a bad reputation, is the light rear end. In the snow, they're no good no matter what tires are running. So I love the car. I would just hate for a bunch of kids to go out and start buying it, crashing them, and keep saying a bad name.
Like, so a friend of mine has a GT500. My best friend has a 2007 GT500 convertible, and on my review, I accidentally
I was about to say a story that pertained to what he was saying about driving in the snow with a Mustang.
All right, go ahead.
Quick, since that's relating to what he's saying, and yours might just spawn into a different topic, but me and my friend No Go Garage, we actually took his big turbo Fox body out in the snow.
Yeah, you recorded
16-degree weather. Yeah, I recorded it. The video's not out yet, but it was sketchy. And plus, there was no.
You didn't have street tires on that, did you?
Oh no, it has drag radials.
Well, my GT500 had some NT555s, and then I had other tires on it. When I drove it home in North Carolina in the snow, because we got 4 inches of snow, only 4 inches, the car drove sideways. It took me 4 hours to drive 50 miles, yet I drove my Hellcat in the snow last week, and I was able to do 40 miles an hour around corners, no problem. It's just, I don't know what it is about the Mustangs, is just they're so light. Now, here's the thing I try to tell a lot of people about racing. There's more to racing than just horsepower and tires. It's also weight balance, weight distribution. So if you've got a car that only weighs 3,000 pounds, but its weight distribution is 70% front, 30% rear, and it's rear-wheel drive, you're not going to be able to handle it for shit. The thing that I think that the Camaro has done right is it's 4951, as well as the Charger. Challenger's 4852, which is still better than the Mustang. That's been the problem for the Mustang, is it's nose heavy, especially the old 07, 09 GT500s that I've owned. You do not want a rear wheel drive car with that much power nose heavy. You're just gonna spin the rear end, the front end.
That just because of the fact that the engine is sitting further forward in the engine bay versus maybe the Camaros and the Demons?
No, it's the chassis. It's the chassis comes on the old SLS Mercedes chassis. So Paul's car and my car is old Mercedes tech from the 90s. They're all been the same cars for 20 years, same chassis and frame. And it's more rigid, more balanced, more solid, more even, handles better. It's just a better chassis. And I think that Ford's outdated on that. But I'm also a car guy, but I've had like I said, 3 Mustangs, and I love them. I just think the Mustang will never have the suspension tech of GM, and they'll never have the suspension tech of Dodge. And there's nothing better than a Mopar-powered Mercedes, which is what a Hellcat is. It's a Mercedes SLS chassis with Mopar suspension and engine, and that's hard to beat. And that's not taking anything from Ford, because the Ford GT350 is one of the best track cars ever designed. I just think once you start getting these cars to 800 horsepower, how is a Mustang going to handle when it's got 700-800 horsepower and the rear end weighs 500 pounds less than a Hellcat? A Hellcat's already doing donuts. So take a Hellcat, take away 500 pounds in the ass end only, because that's where all the weight of the Mustang weighs less than the Charger and Challenger. It's taking weight out of the ass, which is an absolute travesty for a car of that much power. But I'm stoked and would still buy it. I'm just saying it's not going to handle as good as a Charger or Challenger because of the weight problem.
I was going to say that,
I've actually drove a Scat Pack Charger, and that thing handled way better than I thought it would.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, let me interrupt you there for a second, because because I've driven my Pontiac GTO in a snowstorm before when it was stock, and it drove amazing in the snow. I know that at the time it was only 400 horsepower, and it's only a 6-speed manual, but like you said, the distribution of the weight is crucial to a car's dynamics on such weather. And you got to remember that all those Chrysler vehicles were made, for the chassis. It's a German car where obviously it snows a lot. There's always, ice, and they're just made to handle.
Right. But let's be honest here real quick. Your GTO is basically an E39 is basically an E39 BMW, right? M5.
No.
Well, it's a Holden chassis, right?
It's a Holden. It's a Holden Monero, is what it is.
Right, but from what I understood, they basically Holden took all the engineers from BMW that designed the E39 or whatever 39, and basically designed your GTO, the G8, and
which would be the VE and the VF chassis, which. It's not a BMW, but it's very similar to a German engineered car.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great car. I love it. I think those GTOs are amazing. Much better than the F-bodies that was right before it.
Oh, absolutely. In fact, the 2010 Camaro is based on a GTO. Actually, it's based on the G8. That's what it is. If you look underneath, from a 2010, 11, and a 12, the underbody, the whole structure is a G8.
Yep.
Okay, so one thing I'd like to hear your guys' opinions on is Michael Myers in the comments. I don't know why that name sounds familiar, like it was someone in the movie.
The actor.
Yeah, there is an actor.
Yeah.
He's a douchebag. Yeah, he's insane.
Into that crap.
Again, douchebag.
Back to what I was saying. Back to what I was saying. He said, but Terminators eat Hellcats up for a quarter of the price.
No.
Bullshit.
No,
I have a Hellcat. I will smoke his Terminator. Terminators have this, they're 300 horsepower, and oh my goodness, they're amazing, right? I don't know. Back in the day, I had a Trans Am WS6, and I liked it better than the Terminator. The Terminator looks cool.
I've been in one before, and we got 130 on the freeway, but it was a little sketchy. And plus, the whole time we were flooring it up to 130, the ass end was a little squirrely the whole time.
Well, I've had my 77 Nova up to 130.
Yeah, but that's not the question, right? How can it go in a straight line?
Absolutely,
you can't compare
straight line, but turning, I don't know.
Well, that's what I was just gonna say. A live axle on a Mustang, now that they're available in independent suspension. That has helped massively on handling department for Mustang, and that's a thing that Camaro has always had ever since the new 2010, and from now they've always had independent suspension, just like the GTO, the G8s, the SS. Mustangs have always had a live rear axle, and that's what has always hindered their capabilities until now.
Yeah, because the new ones don't have the live rear axles anymore.
No, they don't.
Which is a good thing.
And one of the other things that you have to also understand is that GM has the most sophisticated suspension out there. In fact, the magnetic ride is being used by Ferrari, and it's being licensed through GM, and they're actually using their suspension. I don't know if you guys knew that.
Wow, Kenny. Well, maybe if you'd talk, maybe you would be contributing. I saw your comment.
Dude, I got nothing to contribute. I'm just soaking it in.
Well, I will tell you is the Ford played a dangerous game, because I'm going to take you guys for like a little 20-year back, quick story here. If you look back at any of the Motor Week, you'll see that GM outperformed Ford in every handling test between the Camaro and the Mustang from like 1980 all the way to like 1999. Chevy always was a better handling performance car. And what happened is I guess the pony market was dying down in the 90s. I don't know why, I can't explain it, but it was going south. And so what Ford did is they codenamed the Mustang, which they originally released in 99 as a 310 horsepower SVT naturally aspirated. And it lost. It still lost to the Camaro. And what Ford did is they said they said, you know what, we're gonna get we're going to get back at Chevy on this one, and they codenamed the new engine the Terminator. Only the 2003 models had Terminator on the block. Not 04, only the 03. It said, look on the block, it actually codenamed the Terminator. And I find it funny how as soon as that car came out, like right before it launched, Chevy killed the Camaro the exact same time because the Camaro was rated at 320 and the Terminator was rated at 390. However, the Terminators were doing 400 on the dyno all day bone stock. So Ford played a dirty game of underrating the car. They're really not 390. They're more about 440, 450. But you can really make a shit fucking load of power out of a Terminator. You can up the boost, pulley injectors, cooler spark plugs, nice exhaust, put a couple of cams in it, get yourself rolling. You can make about 700 wheel on a Terminator, but that's about the limit before you start needing to build the engine. So to say that it could be the Hellcat, you know, no, because with Paul's car, for example, Paul could run 1,200 horse in his stock car and his engine's not going to blow because Tim Barth has already proven they make 1,200 plus on a stock block. And then you could take your transmission to Paramount for $35,000, $4,000 and build 1,000 wheel horsepower transmission or more. So really, you only got to dump about 5, 6K in a Hellcat, and you're doing 1,200 wheel. So to get a Terminator to run 1,200 wheel, you're talking like fucking $30,000 in mods. Now that's not saying that a Terminator is a bad car. It's just a Hellcat's on a different playing field than a Terminator.
You got a totally different freaking playing field there. You got two different generations of cars trying to compete against each other.
Right. Yeah, that's just going back on a comment saying that, you know, a Terminator could eat up a Hellcat. No matter what you do, mod for mod, equal mod for mod, dollar for dollar. Once you own the cars, there's no way mod for mod a Terminator is going to come anywhere close to a Hellcat.
And here's another thing that I was going to say. Okay, you know how you're saying that you know Chevy has been dominating Ford, you know, day in day out, you know, through the 90s. And even after Camaro died off, right? They took it out. It was getting too expensive to produce. Don't forget that they had the SLP versions of the Trans Am and the Camaro, right? The Firehawks and all those, right? Which were the special editions. When that died out and the GTO came out, even though it was the 5.7, and then which was the 04 version, and then the 6.0 with the 05, and then the 06, that was still outperformed every Ford vehicle that was coming out of Ford's. Stock to stock, it was still outperforming with those same engines that were just becoming the newer one from the Corvette that just trickled down to the next vehicle and the next vehicle, just like they have the SS with the latest LT engine from the Stingray. It's just I don't know. They always build something that's better quality. The interior might be kind of shitty. Yeah, it might have a lot of plastic, whatever. How they make fun of it in Motor Trend, where it's the scratchy plastic. But when it comes to the engine and transmission, well, I know that. I'm just saying because people get all technical. But I'm just saying, when it comes to the engine and transmission, it's always been a better performing car.
But so let's go back to GM real quick. So talking about sales numbers, GM has never been able to outsell Ford in a pony car market, even though in every way imaginable, the F-Body was a much better car than any Mustang of that era, right? But
and it's because it's less expensive. It's less expensive to produce and sell. Let's look at the prices.
But the Mustang has always outsold GM every single time. Now, Dodge has been able to outsell Chevy in some months. Overall, year sales, Dodge is nipping at the heels of Chevy. And think about it this way. The Dodge Challenger has literally been out for 10 years now. Unchanged.
Wow.
Except a little bits of things around that, right?
Right.
And
like from they started back with the refresh, it's like it hasn't changed that different since they came back in, what was it, 08?
There's only been three refreshes. That's it. 3 refreshes.
But even the refresh is really mild.
Yeah, they're very minor.
But so when you think about it, Dodge is selling a 10-year-old car on a 20-year-old platform, and Dodge is now in most months outselling GM's fancy new Camaro that they spent billions developing, and Dodge is like, we'll put a big engine in it and call it a Hellcat. And
well, let's just say this: the Mopar craze has come back.
It has. It really has.
No, it really has because.
And the same thing is, but if you even go back,
I'm sorry. I was just what I was gonna say is that even in the late '70s, and late '60s, it was Mopar or no car. That's the way people used to be, and the Mopar theme has continued because even Chrysler and Dodge have always created a more sexy looking vehicle from early on. They had a better looking dash, better looking vehicle overall. And then Chevy was next, but
I will tell you this. Mopar owners and Mopar fans are cult-like. Now, I am new to Mopar. I have been GM fanboy since I was little, right? I love GM, but I'm not like married to GM. I've always been like different brands. Like I have a Focus ST, and I'm not brand loyal. But the minute I suggest to my fans that I might get rid of the Hellcat for a different brand of car, I swear to God, if they found me, they would lynch me. If I had
they probably would.
See, I can believe it.
Come to the dark side. We have LS.
I can agree with that. I mean, yeah, that's the type of fans they are. I mean, like the thing is I'm not brand loyal either. I just been driving and racing my whole life, and to defend the Mustang, because I know some people might think I was bashing on it earlier, but I'm not. To defend the Mustang here, it's the longest running production American muscle car in history. No car, not even the Corvette. Corvette had a break in the 90s. The
83.
No, it was 80s. It was 80s.
Yeah,
it was
80s. 1 year.
It was 1 year only because they couldn't get the new Corvette through production fast enough to meet that 1 year. It wasn't necessarily that it was supposed to come out that year, but they just couldn't get it to be dependable enough to make it into production.
Well, yeah, not only that,
the
Mustang's the only muscle car too, and only American car to ever win the Tiffany of Excellence Award. So the Mustang has been a car of legendary status. You guys should look that up. The Tiffany of Excellence Award has only been presented to one American muscle car, and that was the Mustang. And so I love all cars, and as much as I bash on the Mustang for plowing into people making jokes like that or its rear end being light, the Mustang has been an excellent platform for a long time, but it's definitely not as good as GM when it comes to handling. Now, if I was to say what is the best pony car today for the money, it depends on what you're doing. If you're trying to go straight, fast, in a quarter mile, the best pony car would have to be a Demon or a Hellcat. But if you're going to take your car to the track and overall daily drive and don't have the money to blow, I think the 2017 Camaro SS is probably hands down the 2LE or 1LE. I mean, is probably the best pony car you can get. I drove it. I reviewed it. The handling, the speed, the acceleration, the comfort. It is just a badass pony car. And the ZL1's a step up, like a ZL1 with a 1LE package. That's probably the best pony car today, and I drive a Hellcat. So that has got to be brutal, honest opinion coming out of me because I drive two Mopars, and yet I still think the 1LE Camaro is fucking fabulous. So I just love that car.
Yeah, I've been in a regular ZL1, and I can imagine how much better that 1LE handles.
Absolutely.
Because me and my friend Pete were going around these sharp-ass turns. I even have a video on it. How sharp the turns were and how it was just like this. And it's like, I was so blown away how good that car handled. It's like when you think of a Camaro, you don't think of handling. Or any American car, period, you don't think of handling.
Yeah, that Camaro.
The thing does just plant. It does just plant.
Oh, yeah, that Camaro was, when I was coming out of the corners, there was barely any fishtail. We're talking about a car here that weighs 600 pounds less than the Challenger SRT Scat Pack. That wasn't even the Hellcat. 600 pounds lighter, 500 pounds lighter, and I could rip it going into a turner, and I could just feel confident, inspired by the chassis. The Camaro just whips into the corner. I could feel the rear end brake a little bit, and it would just go straight. Like I felt very confident pushing the limits and the boundaries of the Camaro SS, going in and out of the corners, launching. I'm talking about straight on, no traction control, just launching from a dig. And the Camaro was getting it every time. It was just inspiring to drive a car that was that well put together.
So it's like, I like to use it like this. When I drove the Camaro ZL1, I found it, even though it had 650 horsepower, to be underpowered for its chassis. That's the way I found it, right? I couldn't overpower the car. I can overpower my Hellcat anytime I make a corner, right? And
yeah,
you can overpower pretty much any Mustang. People do it every Saturday at a car show.
I think that's really the problem with the Mustang, that the engine and transmission overpowers the chassis.
I was at a church, and I was driving my friend's GT500, and I took out a whole crowd of people, blow-up dolls. I didn't even know this was going to happen because the Mustang.
Oh my God!
Is that what you were doing with all those blow-up dolls?
Yeah,
wow. In your trunk. No, he had a bunch of blow-up dolls in his trunk. Is that what you used?
Oh, I know where the blow-up dolls were from. I thought they were from Alistair.
They were for surprise, everybody.
Yeah, no. So
I'm sorry, Alistair. I had to say it. I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
I thought it would be pretty ironic to blow up, to take out a crowd of blow-up dolls at a church with a Mustang. But anyway,
that was hilarious.
The GT500, even his car, it's overpowered for the chassis. The Camaros, the new ones, are not. Even at 650 horsepower, I'm like, wow, this thing feels underpowered. And
you need to be Randy Popes to really take advantage of a Mustang.
Okay, let's move on to the next topic. Since we've kind of brought up our own topics and haven't got to the ones that are in the title, except one. Would you like to bring up the Bullitt Mustang photos for us?
Yes.
So in the next topic, that should have been much earlier in this podcast, but things kind of got dragged out into many different topics. What is everyone's thoughts on the new Bullitt Mustang that was released in Detroit? I think it's a good idea. I personally love it, the way that it looks. Yeah, that Ford decided to bring it back. And respected, that Steve McQueen would have wanted it only in a manual.
Yeah.
The way everything's going with automatics, I was so surprised that Ford did that, but I praised them for doing that.
So,
yeah, I mean, go ahead.
Yeah, hold on. I gotta give me 2 seconds. I'm gonna show a video.
Someone else bring up what they think about the car so we can keep this going until Paul gets the...
I think it's a good-looking car.
Enough with it.
What was that, Alistair?
I don't think it has... I mean, it's a nice-looking car. I don't think it has the attitude that the original car did.
What do you mean?
It had just a little bit... It had a presence about it. And, I mean, yes, it's the right color, but it doesn't seem to have that don't mess with me attitude that the original car did.
Well, the Bullitt, I think I would take that over the GT500 because of the legendary Steve McQueen status. The Bullitt, I don't like the front end of the new Mustang. I don't like it. I think the 15 was the best year they had, but I think what I would do is I would buy the Bullitt and I would probably rip the front end off and put 15 front end on it and then park it in a garage, and collector value could go up. I'd drive it, beat the shit out of it. I think it's a great car, but it's 475 horsepower. And if you think of it like this, with a good driver, you have to really know how to drive a manual transmission and be able to, drive it perfectly, because that's what an automatic is going to give you, a perfect 100 millisecond shift every time. If you can do that, that car is going to run 0 to 60 in about 3.8 seconds, maybe 4 flat. Because if you look the Challenger SRT Scat Pack in automatic, they're running 0 to 60 in 4.3, 4.2, and that's 500-600 pounds heavier, same horsepower. So these guys that buy the Bullitt, you're talking about a mid to low 12-second car running 0 to 60 in under 4 seconds with an experienced driver. That's a lot of fucking car for $50,000, a lot, and to be a Bullitt in one. But then we're just back down to square one again with having a sports car with all kinds of money, or muscle car invested in it, and it having a light ass end. You're still going to have to be very careful because, in my opinion, I love the Mustang, but it's a one-trick pony. Cue the hint there. It's good for the drag, good for the handle, but for all your driving, it's lacking. I think the chassis, no matter how good Ford make the chassis, the thing I didn't like about the GT350 was the same problem. The flat plane crank vibrates, the firewall, it's vibrating. Ford's got this little hose they run from the engine into the inside of the car to make you hear the engine more. It rattles everything. It's when you drive that and then you drive a Camaro ZL1 or the Corvette C7 Z06 that I drove or the Hellcat, I can say the Corvette was quiet and smooth and stiff. The Camaro was quiet, smooth, and soft. The Hellcat does both, quiet, smooth, stiff, or soft. The Mustang's one way all the time. Rigid, stiff, vibrations, and just it's a track car. And I think that they did it right, but it's a one-trick pony for me, and that's why I'm kind of stiff on it, because I want a car that's fast, reliable, smooth, can drive it all year, can go real fast in the quarter mile, and can also handle decently at a road course. I want a jack-of-all-trades car that's a Frankenstein beast. And when I think like that, I think of the ZL1 Camaro, because it's proven time and time again to be as good as the old Z28 from 2012, but have the power. Mustang is just too focused on attacking the Corvette, it seems. They want a track-only car like a Corvette that's no good in the snow, too light in the rear end, very
okay.
You know?
Okay, drive with you.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but doesn't the Voodoo engine have...
No, stop. The video is ready that Paul wants to show, damn it.
Oh, okay.
All right, let me show the video. This is Ford's video. So avoid your eyes so you don't see my entire screen.
Oh, God.
Uh-oh. What are you trying to show us, Paul?
Anybody know where this was filmed?
Lower Wacker.
Ah, somebody who lives in the fancy north.
That's
My private racetrack.
That's Chicago.
Yeah.
I was there last night in that exact tunnel. I was filming.
Oh, nice.
Corey, that's the private racetrack.
Oh, that's cool. I did my latest vlog last night. I uploaded. I had drone shots of the sky and nighttime downtown Chicago. I flew my drone all night, and I filmed in that tunnel. Yeah, right now, yeah.
What for?
GTO just sponsored my Durango with their new exhaust system.
Nice.
Yeah, nice. It's really, really cool. So that's what I'm here for. And Chicago's a really beautiful city. So, I mean, I've only been here for 2 days, but I can tell you it's definitely one of the nicer cities I've ever been to. I really like Chicago. It's nice. It really is.
I was up there in 2014. It was beautiful.
Yeah, Chicago's really nice. It gets a bad rep, and people say, oh, it's rough and blah, blah, blah. Well, you know what?
It's rough when you get off. If you get off of the beaten path and you start going a little bit into the city, yeah, it gets pretty rough. But the main area in Center City where all the tourist stuff is, it's pretty.
I was up there by Grant Park and the northeast side. It was gorgeous.
Yes, that's like right where I live. I mean, I'm a little more like, you know, north and east. I'm like right in the corner.
I was down
sure that's a good
by
idea
the pier.
To be putting on the internet around the area you live, Alistair. That's not the brightest place.
I mean, I live downtown. If you really want to find me, you can watch my videos and figure out where I film. Like, it's fine, whatever.
We have to do another video together, Alistair, and Paul, too. We're both got to do something. I'm going to be here till Friday, so we definitely got to do something all day Friday. We got to do something fun. In the
That is a pretty-looking car.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give it that. It is a good-looking car. Like,
but my question
does everybody like agree on that?
I want one.
Me too, but I think you could just buy a regular GT, put a different grill on it, put a different shift knob on it, and it's the same damn car.
You know what?
Probably.
I actually heard that they're supposed to have a different exhaust note for the Bullitt as well.
Yeah, maybe.
It does. It does.
Oh, you mean like you do realize that the exhaust note for the Bullitt in the movie wasn't even a Mustang?
Did you also know that the 440 Charger that was in that movie kicked the crap out of the Mustang? They had to film it because the Charger kept on pulling away from the Mustang.
My question earlier that I was going to ask you guys is, if I'm not mistaken, doesn't the Voodoo engine, the flat plane crank, doesn't it have weights to reduce the vibration on the crank, if I'm not mistaken?
I rode in a GT350 and I didn't feel any vibrations in it. I just love that exhaust note.
All I know is that I remember hearing that it's supposed to cancel out the vibrations. That's what it does. That's the way Ford designed it, because of the way it's shaped.
So on to the next topic. So the press release in Detroit, Ford also kind of teased a hybrid Mach 1 in 2020.
Oh, screw them.
But it seems like they're trying to freaking put a Mustang and an SUV together, which I think is a terrible idea. if you were going to like take the Mach 1 nameplate away from the Mustang, like what the fuck? Like here's the funny thing. I made a video many months ago talking about like how I thought they were going to bring the Mach 1 back or whatever of it. But not like this. Just please.
Yeah,
no.
don't bring it back
What
as
do you
an
guys
SUV.
think?
Don't.
Is this
Don't
like
bring it back as a.
taking? I was gonna say Mitsubishi taking the nameplate of Eclipse and make it an SUV. Is this the same thing basically?
Looks like it, but I mean, we don't really have confirmation. All the video was is a Mustang and what was it, an Explorer or an Edge or something? I don't know. An SUV from
ugly.
Ford going into the same garage and then a bunch of light shows and then Mach 1. It really didn't say much, but it makes you kind of think that they're trying to combine the two.
Yeah, they'll probably come out with an Escape Mach 1. Screw them.
That's
Yeah,
a
And the
mistake.
horse they rode in on.
Number one, don't make a Mach 1 a hybrid. Number two, don't make it an SUV.
Well,
That's bad. I think I heard that they're going to make the Mustang a hybrid in 2020 anyway.
I swear to God, I hope Ford does that because that would end the Mustang. The first hybrid pony car is the death of that pony car.
Yeah, no kidding, huh?
see, Ford.
You know, the one thing I was gonna add. So I was gonna say, I know that Ford has been outselling, Chrysler and Chevy with the Mustang, but how many of those Mustangs have been V6s versus the V8s, and how many of them have been the 4-cylinder turbos that they had for that limited time?
So the vast majority of all muscle
up.
cars are the
Hold up.
engine.
Gregory Salvatore in the comments is like, mile all electric SUV may be named the Mach 1 due 2020.
Screw them. Why don't they just build the
GT500
shake my head.
Like making it a hybrid is like the Mach 1, like turning the Mach 1 into like a freaking SUV period is bad enough to make the shake his head. But
that reminds me of
too?
that reminds me of whenever they almost turned the ZX3 into the new Mustang, which was a front-wheel drive car back in the early 90s, or was it early 2000s before the new Mustang came out?
Kind of like Dodge did with the Charger in the 80s.
And they scrapped it and they just
The Dodge
left it
with
as the ZX3.
The Dodge with the Charger in the 80s when they came back with the they replaced the Neon with the Dart.
Yeah, that was a mistake.
The Dart was another disappointment where they brought back a really good nameplate and just made it completely disappointing.
I personally
butchered it.
Dodge would have sold many more Darts if they would have called it a Neon, because that
I agree.
would be a great success.
Yeah, I mean, it was this was not against actually what the actual car the Dart was. The actual car is really nice, but the
nameplate that shouldn't have never been called the Dart.
No,
Never.
It was a really nice looking car.
Exactly.
I really like the car. I just don't like the name that they gave the car.
Yeah,
a lot of people Chrysler 100, and it still would have been better than Dart.
Yeah, no kidding, huh?
Like
they should have called it a Neon. I personally think Neon was the perfect name for that car.
Yeah, the Neon SRT4 is one of the best tuner cars ever made. At least 10 years ago. I mean, you could buy them, cast iron block, up the boost. Nice exhaust system, nice downpipe, nice tune. Those things running 350, 400 all day. Great. I mean,
let's not go that far. Let's go. What about the Caliber?
Caliber, I like the design better. It wasn't as fast. The Neon was lighter, more agile, and more capable. It's just the all-wheel drive system was better in the Caliber. I actually had a Caliber for some time, loved it, but I had a Neon too, and it's no Neon for sport. It's basically. They were trying to give you a sports car and a crossover type SUV, almost like a cross tour from Honda all at the same time. To me, it was a great for what it was, but I would have rather seen the Caliber and the Neon sold brand new side by side. This way you could have had more option. Then killing the Neon was the worst thing Dodge did in that time.
The problem is,
modernized it.
The problem is during that era of Dodge, they raided the Tonka toy factory to make their interiors. It sucked ass.
Well, you know, one of the things.
Drive one of those cars.
Dodge's interiors have never been very well.
No, but they brought it to a whole new shitty level. Like,
you could always have the dash in my truck. A second gen Dodge Ram.
Right. My friend has one. They fall apart.
Yeah, they don't have a dash. If they're more than 5 or 6 years old and you still have a dash in that truck, you're counting yourself lucky.
I mean, I've been in a Dodge Cummins before. I'm not sure which generation it was.
Any 1500, 2500, or 3500 Dodge Ram all have the same interior.
And the Dodge.
Okay, well then, yeah.
Hold on.
There is a funny story to that.
Before this gets
what,
lost.
Martin?
Okay, one of the things that was the funniest things out of a Dodge Neon, it had wind-up windows in the back and electric windows in the front. Who the hell does that?
I don't know, but
I mean, it's different.
I agree with what this guy just said about the Neon should have come in the SRT4 version in the 2-door. I think that would have been like really fucking badass. Like
they should have modernized it. If they would have modernized it with something a little more futuristic, you know, it don't have to be retro, right? It could have just been, you know, more tuner base.
One of the cars
and just get rid of the old ugly shape that it had. They would have sold the shit out of those cars, you know, especially with that pricing that they
They could have kept the styling that they had for the Dart and just kept the Neon name.
And another one of the nameplates that Dodge is messing out on is the Magnum. Why don't they bring the Magnum back with the SRT version with the new Hellcat engine? Come on, man. That was one of the baddest, you know, cars that they had before.
The Magnum wagon was that thing was freaking amazing.
The problem is
I think my friend actually has one of the Magnum wagons, if I remember correctly.
Especially the SRT. Oh my god, that was an awesome car.
Yeah, it's an amazing car, but nobody bought it. It's like the CTSV wagon. That's an amazing car, right? A 6-speed CTSV wagon. One of the best.
They should have made limited production numbers every year, even if it was just a few, and that would make it relevant and hot today. Especially with the
problem with doing anything limited production is cost. The less you make of something, the more it costs to make.
Yeah, but that chassis it's already paid itself. They don't change much.
They are limited. Like right now, if you want a CTSV wagon, you're paying $60,000 for it.
Yeah, they're limited. It's almost like, you know, the new SS. They've been out since 2014. The last year was the 2017. They only made a little over 12,000 units for those entire years. There's less
per year or for all 3 years together.
That's all 3 years together, man. That's less than the GTO or the G8. The GTO has about 12 to 13,000 per year. There's about 30,000 units that were shipped over from Australia in the 3 years that it was made.
Yeah.
And there's even less 06s.
Yeah, the SS was another one of those underrated cars.
Yeah, it's in fact.
Yeah, and it was under marketed too.
Yeah,
well,
it literally did not get the exposure and the I'm lost for a word here, but it did not get what it deserved. That car was a lot more than what it looked at from face value.
In fact, that's what the video that Doug DeMuro just made and released a few days ago. He said that the SS is the best car that could have possibly come out in modern times that was a failure because it has all this amazing technology in it with a very good engine, but there was no marketing. Nobody even knew existed.
It was too much of a sleeper.
The GTO. Yes, exactly.
It was the sleeper of sleepers.
Yeah, it's one of those cars that just nobody knew it even existed, and even if they did, they didn't know what it was. You know, it's always somebody that had a family that needed a 4-door sedan. In fact, it's the only rear-wheel drive vehicle other than the CTSV or a Hellcat that has to do with the Charger. Other than that, there's no other competitor other than a BMW, Audi, or anything that's more expensive like a Mercedes or BMW.
So on to the next topic. Oh, never mind. Finish what you were saying, Paul, and then we'll continue.
Yeah, just real quickly. If you want a CTS-V wagon, right now you're looking at a minimum of 55 grand. If you want it in a manual, you're looking at 70. You could get a brand new 2016 CTS-V with like 3,000 miles for less than what you can get a CTS-V wagon with a 6-speed.
You can go get yourself a Corvette for that price.
Oh yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, a G8 GXP Firehawk is still $30,000.
That's a good deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for the next topic, what's everyone's thoughts on the Ford Edge ST that came out in Detroit?
I didn't see it yet.
I need to look at it.
I think Alistair's smiling over there. I think he has something to say.
I just am a fan of cars that are practical and fun, as you know my Golf R. So I don't know. I like the idea of it.
It's an automatic.
And here are the pictures of it.
It's
not bad looking.
It's 335 horsepower, 8-speed automatic, mom-mobile that gets 20 plus miles to the gallon, has 300 horsepower, can do the quarter mile in 13 seconds.
I drive that as a daily.
Yeah. No!
Yes!
ST before this was a manual transmission, a fun-to-drive car. This is not fun. This is fast.
Get a manual for your weekend car. Use that as a daily. Like that's the perfect daily.
Exactly. I would have my fun car. Like I love classic muscle cars, but you still need a car. Like I'm gonna really shoot myself in the foot here, but right now I drive my girlfriend's Kia Soul. It's tiny. It's quick.
Yeah, but that's $11,000.
It's not my muscle car. So, but I have the muscle cars to drive. Well, if they're running, I have my muscle cars to drive on the weekend.
You know what's fun? My mother-in-law's Infiniti. It's a Q50S sports car. That's all-wheel drive with over 300 horsepower. That's fun.
Yeah, but nobody thinks of a Kia Soul as a sports car.
I know that. I know that. But the Kia Soul that kills my soul by you saying that, man.
My daily driver is an ST, a real ST, not a fake one.
But
you should check your testicles to figure out if they're both there still.
No.
Anyway, this Kia Soul. The sad part is this Kia Soul will outrun my Dodge Ram. It will outrun my Dodge Ram with the 5.9 liter.
Well, that's because the Ram weighs how much?
Yeah, I know. But I mean, like the Ram will have it off the line, but that Kia Soul, after I give above 30 miles an hour, that Kia Soul's gone.
So, your mother-in-law bought a Soul. Does that mean that she gets to sell it?
No. My mother-in-law has an Infiniti Q50S.
Yeah, I was trying to make a joke and it fell flat. Damn it.
I got it.
It fell really flat.
I want to buy a Soul so I could sell my Soul.
You're a funny guy, Paul. You're a funny guy.
My soul's hurting knowing that he has a freaking. Well, I mean, at least it's his wife, so I mean, I'm okay with that. But it kills me that he drives it.
Hey, you know
The
what?
Kia Soul is a great car. I love it.
It is. It's a decent car. I mean, but the thing is it's the only one of my vehicles that is on the road at the moment. You know, I have the two Novas, I have the Trans Am, and I have the Dodge Ram truck. This Kia Soul has got me back and forth to work for the last year.
I understand that. At least, like a PT Cruiser Turbo, output is a lot funner in a manual than,
I would much rather be in this Kia Soul than that PT Cruiser.
Let me ask you this. How would you like it? The price starts at $41,000. So, Corey, you know this. I mean, you have an SRT Durango, but a Durango RT costs the exact same as this abomination ST, right? So who would much rather have a Durango RT versus a Edge ST for the same price?
Well, we always get the Durango.
The thing is the Durango and this ST.
Okay, everybody's talking at the same time. Let's let Corey go first, then we'll go with Sean. I think Alistair was trying to say something too.
I just want to say I like it.
Well, here's the thing you got to look at. It's different market. totally different market. The Durango appeals to people who want the modern muscle with their SUV, whereas Ford's going with more of the European EcoBoost style engine to being a 2.7 liter, making 380 foot-pound of torque, and I've seen it's 335 horsepower. That's well and good, but you're talking about an SUV that weighs around 4,100 pounds, so it's only about 300 pounds lighter than a Hellcat. So when you think about that, it's great power, but we're talking about 0 to 60 times around 4.8 to 5 seconds, which the Explorer Sport, my mom's ran like 5.9 best time bone stock, and it's bigger and more roomy. So it's more spirited than the Explorer. That's a good thing in Ford's lineup. The Durango RT, I think best time I got was about 6.2, 6.4 bone stock. So to answer that question, the ST Ford Edge is definitely going to be faster than a Durango RT. But what it really boils down to is not everybody's out there for speed. You got to look at room. The Edge is not going to tow what the Durango does. It's not going to have as much room. It's not going to have as soft as a ride. It's not going to be as family oriented. It's more of a sport SUV. And if I was going to buy a sport SUV, which I did buy one, I bought a Durango SRT, which would destroy a Ford Edge ST. Like not even close. So I guess it's market appeal. Some people like the Edge, some people like the Durango, and whoever's going to like it is going to buy it. Flood the market with as many fucking choices as we can and let people buy what they want. And that's the best answer, is let everybody enjoy what they want.
I agree.
And you know something? The Durango looks sinister. There's just something
it
sinister
really
about
comes down to who has balls and who doesn't. Right?
Right.
You know, like
so I'm guessing Paul's trying to say that he has the balls and Alistair doesn't, since Alistair
No, Paul drives the even smaller version of the ST. So what does that say about him?
It's a Pontiac.
We got to watch the language. Alistair's only 14, remember?
No, I'm actually 11 3/4.
No, I'm just playing.
I know.
I mean, Alistair has drove my Twinkie, and never. All right.
Okay.
That was bad, Paul.
That's
my soul's dying here.
Alistair, hey, bro, you and I, me and you and Paul are going to line up our cars. You guys got to both race the Durango SRT 0 to 60.
Yes, I like that.
While we're in Chicago, just know that my Durango's pulling 3.8 0 to 60. So let's do this shit. Let's do it.
Sounds good.
Wait a minute. My Hellcat?
Yeah, I want to race your Hellcat in my Durango.
Oh, this should be good.
Ooh.
We're not talking about a quarter mile.
I want to see that.
We're just talking about a straight 0 to 60. 0 to 60.
You could probably beat me in a quarter mile because I'm not hooking up below 100.
Yeah, that's true. The Durango, believe it or not, when I bought the Durango RT, Paul's had one too. He had a red one.
Yeah.
And I had a black one murdered out with a Hemi Fever tune and intake and exhaust. And I raced the G35 and beat it. I was like, wow, I can only imagine if it had the 6.4. Sure as shit, I'm at home, my wife and my son watching TV, and it shows the Durango burning out all-wheel drive. And I'm like, motherfuck, what is that? And it was like the new SRT. I was like, God almighty, I'm buying that car. So like a long story short, I went to the dealership a month or two later and ended up buying a Hellcat. And I was like, damn, I just want the Hellcat because I was at Mopar.
That's why I want the Trailhawk.
And I basically told my wife, I was like, you know what? I'm going to start a YouTube channel, blah, blah, blah. I'm just going to do my thing. And if it works out, we're going to get one. We ended up getting one. And I'm going to tell you, the Durango SRT is faster than I thought an SUV that weighs 5,000 pounds can be. What 5,400 pound massive monstrous vehicle treks 0 to 60 in 3.8? 3.8 seconds, and we're hitting six. Like the Camaro SS, best time I could get was 4 flats.
I can't even I mean, you guys are all in a different league than I am. I mean, I can't even think about owning a car that's that expensive at the moment. So I mean,
you're not the only one, Sean.
Well, hell, the best time I ever did in the Stingray,
game,
when it had brand new tires, it was a 3.6 or 3.7 or something like that, and it was just unbelievable being able to hit such a number at so quickly. 0 to 60. It was just unbelievable.
Have you reviewed it, Paul? The SRT Durango yet? Have you been in it?
I have not. Mainly for fear that I would go buy one.
Review mine.
I will.
I'm here. I want to see your thoughts on it. I want you to get in it because the thing is it's all the comfort of an RT, all the room of an RT with all the power and performance of a Scat Pack SRT. So you get to have best of both worlds. I'm sure that a Charger would outrun the Durango in a say a highway launch. Like you hit it about 30 to a roll, maybe like a 30 to 100. The Charger and Challenger SRT, not the Hellcat, just the Scat Pack, they would win. But when it really comes down to it, it's a mom SUV that looks aggressive as shit.
I happen to have a few friends with Scat Packs.
Yeah, Steve's one of them.
Right. And he lives up in that northern Wisconsin area.
Another Scat Pack or a Hellcat or something. I need to.
Well, if you didn't live out in the East Coast, I'd say you could drive mine.
Well, hell, I mean, look.
You need to make another trip to the East Coast, Paul.
just look at the Trailhawk. Look how fast that thing is.
Trailhawk
massively fast. It defies what a big car like that should do. It's unreal. You know,
hey,
like
guys,
60, it'll beat a Hellcat. Simple as that.
Hey guys, unfortunately, I have a 6 o'clock meeting in the morning. I have to get to. And Corey and I need to do a video tonight, so I got to get going here pretty quick.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, actually, let's do one more topic. That's a short one. What cars do you guys despise? I'm actually interested to hear this one.
Big turbo GTIs.
Can you have one?
The Kia Soul.
Which is a big turbo good GTI.
I could probably go off on a tangent and say a couple of cars that I absolutely hate.
Civics.
So here we go. I hate it when people buy single cam non-VTEC Honda Civics or hatches and put like mufflers on them and make all kinds of racket and they're running 0 to 60 in 12 seconds. No bullshit, straight up. I'm a Honda builder and I have a Type R and I've been building Hondas forever and I don't like that. But I also hate the Ford Fiesta from the 90s. That's a big pile of rubbish. I don't like people who buy Mustangs who don't know how to drive and plow into crowds of people and make Mustang owners look bad when in reality, I was a Mustang owner and never crashed my car once. That really kind of grinds my gears. I don't like, there's many cars I could go in topic. I don't like some of the older BMWs from the early 90s. These guys running big turbos and making all kinds of racket and they're not very fast. The Honda's the worst though. Absolute fucking worst. Ricer Hondas. I don't like them. And another car that I used to hate that got on my nerves to death, and I'll end it with this car for now because I could go on forever, but was the Toyota Corolla from the 80s, the Trueno. I like it now as an older guy. I like it now, and it's a mature, nice car to drive. But a lot of guys back in the 90s when I was a teenager had the Trueno and used to beat them up and run big fart can exhaust on. They were loud and slow and just horrible. And they just bothered me a lot. Not as much as the Honda single cam non-VTECs, though. They take the cake.
Yeah.
Don't forget
so,
the
Paul, what's something
Nissan...
you don't like? Or Martin.
It's not that I don't like it. Or let Martin go first.
Yeah.
The Nissan Sentra. You know, with the big fart can in the back. Oh, God. That just, kills me. At least let it be the VTEC one, you know?
How about any car that they put a giant fart can on the back of it?
Yeah.
Sean takes the cake right there.
There's cars that I don't understand. I understand the kids that do the Civics, right? They probably can't afford anything more than a non-turbo or non-VTEC Civic.
The Veloster.
Yeah, the Veloster drives that car. I don't understand because it doesn't match. You got two doors on one side and one side on the other. But the cars that people modify that I just don't understand is I used to have like a Grand Prix, right, back in the day. And people would buy the GT and they're like, oh, we want to put a turbo on it or we want to make it faster than a GTP. And we're like, you could trade it in for a GTP and get it for much cheaper. But I don't understand cars like people take like the Mazda 3s and they modify them. I don't understand that. Or any Kia. Why would you modify any Kia? The Kia Soul is the exception. But why would you take a Kia Soul or a Kia Optima and start modifying it. Why would you do that? They're pieces of crap cars.
It's Scion XB.
Those were cool.
May I say more? But they're horrible. I mean, it's like a freaking tin can. My old boss had one of those, and I would have to.
Wait, hold up, Paul. What was that you just put up on the screen there?
Oh, it looked like an XB. It was an ice cream sandwich.
Paul, I have to chime in just for 1 second. As Paul brought up Kia, my buddy back in 2004 was in the military. He hooked up. Get this, you're probably gonna laugh. He hooked up a Kia Spectre, whatever it was called, and was putting all kinds of shit in it. He was like 110 horsepower.
He installed a Nintendo.
Yeah, Nintendo. He put a Nintendo in the dash, and he had an exhaust and an intake, and yeah.
But I remember that Scion XB. I would get into it to go drive and deliver a sound system, and it was like a tin can. You would open and close the door, and it would, like the way a Coke can, crinkles. If you crush it, that's what it would sound like, and you can see the roof move when you open and close the door.
I'll be honest. The one thing I don't understand why people do is like the freaking stance shit to the part to where it's like not even drivability.
So,
and your
extreme camber. Extreme camber.
Yes. Yes. I don't understand.
Woo!
You do realize that is a derivative of the fact of when you airbagged a car and you dropped it all the way down, the wheels would look like that only because the fact that it wasn't at ride height, it was dropped on the ground. And then people just thought, well, what if we drove around with it like that all the fucking time? It's still retarded. I'm a very big person of function over
You're only
form.
riding on half of your fucking tire.
Mention that's
where it gets retarded.
Not to mention, then they're stretching a tire that is too small for the rim, so you're not even riding on the tread. You're riding on the sidewall of the tire,
on the edge.
Exactly.
Yes, that drives me insane. And then the guy goes, I remember seeing some guy in a Tiburon, which is a nice looking car, which also drives me a little nuts because it's a good looking car, but it doesn't do anything. It's too big, it's too heavy, and it doesn't go anywhere with that little V6, And whenever the guy's like, "Oh, it'll handle awesome," I'm like, "Are you kidding me? Like, your car is already, heavy enough for the little engine that it has, and you're messing up the suspension. Are you serious? Like, what's wrong with you?"
It's not gonna. The thing is people think, all right, so if I give it camber, it's gonna handle better. But let's just take video games. You can mess with camber settings in a video game because it's cheaper than trying to do it in real life. If you go too much over camber, you lose side grip, big time. Running on, instead of running on the full 10 or 12 inches of the tire, you're running on less than an inch.
Yeah.
You're not going to have as much grip as you would if you had the tire planted. The whole point of having camber on a car is that way when you're in the corner, the whole tire is planted.
Yeah. Yep. Or how about
anybody else have any?
Open header dumps. Sorry, I just wanted to
Martini?
one more time. Whenever somebody puts dumps on a V6 Mustang or Camaro or Challenger, why? It's not even a V8. Just why?
When somebody has a race meet plate on a V6 Mustang
or Camaro or Challenger, why? Like, just seriously,
right,
if it's a V8, at least I can respect that.
Yeah, I got.
All right. Well, I think we're gonna end it here for tonight. So definitely check out everybody's channels. They will be linked down in the description. I will have to. Paul, can you send me the link to put that down in the?
Don't forget about
Is Paul even still here? Oh,
the link for what?
And also, I could put it in the description.
Oh yeah, I'll send you a link to
YouTube.com/Driveway Demons.
Okay, I might be able to remember that. But definitely check out everybody's channels. They'll be down in the description. And